It is Graham here, still living the dream of 2019, and I forgot to record an intro to this next video, which is number 3 in our 10 Nights in Tenerife series. One of the questions Fiona and I were asking before we went to the Coral Ocean View Hotel in Playa del Tenerife is what is around the hotel. One of the great things about holidaying in Europe versus other countries like the Caribbean and Mexico is it is very safe to go out at night, and Fiona and I in fact went out every night for dinner bar one during our 10 nights in Tenerife. So in this video the plan is to take you on a walk from the Coral Ocean View Hotel down to the beach, which is only about 500 meters, then along to Veronica's and Playa del Americas, and then back along the beach walk to Adeje where Fiona and I ate that evening. You join Fiona and I in this video as we take you on the 5-minute walk from the Coral Ocean View Hotel down to the beach between Playa del Americas and Adeje. In a second I'll speed this video up, but the walk from the Coral Ocean View down to the beachfront was only about half a kilometre, and Fiona and I did this every night bar one. We simply exited at the rear of the car park of the Coral Ocean View, crossed the road, and there was a path leading us down through a garden to the beachfront. And that's it, folks, we've arrived at the front where the bars and restaurants stretch the distance between Los Cristianos, Las Americas and Adeje in southern Tenerife. First of all, we turned east, heading towards Playa del Americas. As you can see, this is the main strip that runs along the beach. When I first visited Tenerife back in 1989, this was a very different place, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that most of this wide road has now been pedestrianised, making it an extremely safe place for us walkers. And within 20 minutes of leaving the Coral Ocean View, here we are arriving at the Veronica Centre. As I said, I first visited Tenerife back in August 1989. And Veronica's back then, just like today, is packed full of pubs, clubs and restaurants. However, I was very disappointed to see that Molly Malone's pub in Veronica's 1 has now been replaced with a tattoo parlour. Back in August 1989, during that first lads holiday with my good friend Paul Dragonetti, we visited Molly Malone's Irish pub in Veronica's 1 nearly every night. So I guess, like everything in the past, I'm left with fond memories of that first trip to Tenerife back in 1989. I have to admit, when crossing the road from the Veronica Centre and spotting Lineker's pub, I was surprised to see that this pub was still there 30 years after my last visit. By now it was time to leave this trip and make the short walk a few blocks down to the beach. As I said earlier, pretty well, the entire beachfront, from Las Cristianas to Las Americas and then up to Adeje, is well serviced with bars and restaurants. But be aware, competition is fierce, so you will be approached continuously enticing you into their restaurant. It was at this point Fiona and I turned around and headed back in the direction of Adeje. I think it is fair to say during our 10 nights in Tenerife during July 2019, Fiona and I preferred eating in Adeje. To be clear, there is nothing wrong with the restaurants in Playa Americas, but the restaurants in Adeje were certainly quieter and provided much better value for money. Just to give you an example, the average cost of a pint of beer in Playa Americas was anywhere between €2 and €2.50. While in Adeje it ranged from €1 to €1.50. Yep, I've been living in Scotland far too long because I enjoy value for money. And as you can see, I've stopped at this point to show you this paraglider who was seen circling the skies around Playa Americas and Adeje nearly every night. And here we are back at the Veronica Centre. Fiona and I really were in need of a drink by this point, so we looked for a pub. And yeah, folks, we did end up in an Irish bar. As you can imagine, the Veronica Centre in 2019 really isn't for Fiona and I. So we had that one drink, Fiona used the facilities, and then we headed back to Adeje to find a restaurant. This video was shot on Saturday night during our 10 nights in Tenerife. And tonight, Fiona and I wanted to try a particular restaurant en route to Adeje called The Castle. Fiona had previously admired the menu, and tonight she was in the mood for a fillet steak. And I was in the mood for a T-bone steak. And boy, did we get great steaks. And it's here I'm going to bring 10 Nights in Tenerife Part 3 to a close, with Fiona and I enjoying great steaks and fantastic live music. In the next episode of 10 Nights in Tenerife, I'm going to upload a vacation diary, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join Fiona and I as we continue to enjoy our 10 Nights in Tenerife during July 2019. Thanks for watching. They don't care what your name is, boy. They'll never turn you away. There ain't no possible and he's back and he run round. Someone warm like you. The main thing is your time.
No, he doesn't. Help me make it through the night. Okay. You get on the seat. Tap down. I don't care if it's right or wrong. I don't try to understand.